What a peculiar November in Germany. Temperatures felt more like late spring than winter, with many swapping heavy coats for light jackets. High-pressure systems over Central Europe blocked the usual cold Arctic air, letting warm southern air dominate. Even Saharan dust made its way into our skies, giving the sunlight a hazy, surreal quality. This warmth wasn't just a blip, it was a persistent, record-breaking pattern. But winter wasn't gone, just delayed. The stage was set for a dramatic shift. Let's see just how warm it got before the big change arrived. We're talking about record-shattering November heat, especially in southern Germany. Emmendingen Mundingen hit 22.3 degrees Celsius, more typical of June than November. Heckingen broke a 70-year-old record, and Schwäbisch Gmünd-Wetzgau topped its 2015 high. The Alpine Föhnwind pushed places like Kohlgrub and Oberstdorf above 24 degrees Celsius. Even higher elevations like Freiburg saw nearly 20 degrees Celsius. These weren't isolated events, this was a widespread historic warm spell. But now, those summer-like days are giving way to a dramatic plunge. Let's look at how quickly things are changing. The drop is here. After weeks of relatively mild and sometimes even unseasonably warm weather, Germany is about to experience a dramatic and unmistakable change. The atmosphere is charged with anticipation as the skies darken and the wind picks up, signaling that something big is on the horizon. People across the country are feeling it. The sudden chill, the biting gusts, and the sense that autumn's gentle hold is slipping away fast. Starting November 16th, warm air is being swept away by a surge of Arctic cold. This isn't just a minor dip in temperature, it's a full-scale invasion of frigid air barreling down from the north. Meteorologists have been tracking this powerful cold front as it races across Scandinavia and northern Europe, now making its way into Germany with impressive force. The contrast between the departing warmth and the incoming cold is stark, and it's happening fast. This isn't a gentle transition, it's a rapid, head-on collision of air masses. The warm, moisture-laden air that's been lingering over the country is now meeting a wall of Arctic chill, creating turbulent skies and dramatic cloud formations. The result? Gusty winds, sudden temperature drops, and a sense of chaos in the atmosphere. It's the kind of weather shift you can feel in your bones, and it's happening almost overnight. The boundary between warm and cold air stalled over northern Germany, bringing heavy, persistent rain. For many in the north, this means days of gray skies, relentless downpours, and waterlogged fields. Rivers are swelling, and local authorities are keeping a close eye on flood-prone areas. The rain isn't just a passing shower. It's a steady, soaking deluge that's making life challenging for commuters, farmers, and anyone hoping for a bit of late autumn sunshine. By Monday, a powerful cold front bulldozes south, replacing mild air with a deep chill. The change is unmistakable. One day you're reaching for a light jacket, and the next, you're bundling up in winter coats and scarves. The cold front doesn't just bring lower temperatures. It sweeps away the last remnants of autumn warmth, leaving a crisp, biting air in its wake. Across the country, people are waking up to frosty mornings and the unmistakable signs of winter's arrival. Temperatures at 1,500 meters altitude are plunging from over 110 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius in just days. This rapid drop is not just a number on a weather chart, it's a tangible shift that's being felt from the highest mountain peaks to the lowland valleys. Ski resorts are seeing their first real snow of the season, and hikers are finding trails suddenly coated in frost and ice. The speed of this temperature change is remarkable, catching many by surprise and signaling that winter is settling in for the long haul. The result? A dramatic countrywide shift from autumn to winter almost overnight. Golden leaves are quickly buried under a blanket of fresh snow, and the familiar palette of fall colors is replaced by the stark whites and grays of winter. For many, it's a breathtaking transformation, one that brings both excitement and a sense of urgency as people rush to prepare for the colder months ahead. The landscape itself seems to change character, becoming quieter, more subdued, and undeniably wintry. The big chill is here to stay. Forecasts show that this cold snap isn't just a brief interruption, it's the start of a prolonged period of wintry weather. Icy winds are sweeping across open fields and through city streets, and the mercury is expected to stay low for the foreseeable future. For many, this means adjusting daily routines, digging out winter gear, and bracing for the challenges and beauty of a true German winter. Let's see what this means for precipitation. With the cold air firmly in place, the type and amount of precipitation will vary dramatically across the country. Some regions will continue to see heavy rain, while others will experience their first significant snowfall of the season. The interplay between rain, sleet, and snow will shape the coming days, affecting travel, agriculture, and daily life. Stay tuned as we break down what to expect in your area. The collision of contrasting air masses across Germany is setting the stage for a dynamic weather pattern, bringing a true mixed bag of precipitation. At first, most areas will experience rain, sometimes heavy, thanks to the influx of moist, mild air from the west. This rain will be widespread, soaking city streets and rural landscapes alike, and making for slippery commutes and waterlogged fields. The atmosphere is primed for unsettled conditions, and umbrellas will be a must for anyone venturing outdoors. As the cold front gradually pushes southward, the rain will persist, especially in northern regions that have already seen days of wet weather. Towns and villages in these areas can expect steady, sometimes relentless rainfall, adding to already saturated ground and raising the risk of localized flooding in low-lying spots. The persistent dampness will be hard to ignore, with puddles forming on sidewalks and fields turning muddy. As temperatures drop behind the advancing front, the nature of the precipitation begins to change. By Monday, the snow line will descend to around 600 to 700 meters, meaning that only the higher elevations will see the first snowflakes of the season. In these upland areas, rain will gradually transition to wet snow, creating a wintry mix on mountain slopes and in forested highlands. The first dustings of snow will appear on the peaks of the Harz, Rothaar, Gebirge, and Sauerland mountains. These regions will wake up to a light coating of white, signaling the arrival of early winter. The snow may not be deep, but it will be enough to transform the landscape and create a picturesque scene for hikers and residents alike. As the week progresses, the wintry weather will spread further south. By midweek, the alpine foothills will see moderate accumulations of wet snow, especially in villages nestled close to the mountains. Meadows and forests in these areas will take on a fresh, white appearance, and the snow will be heavy enough to stick to trees and rooftops, creating a classic early winter scene. For most people living in the cities and lowlands, however, the story remains one of cold, persistent rain. Major urban centers like Berlin and Munich will continue to see wet weather, with chilly winds and gray skies dominating the forecast. For now, snow will remain out of reach for these areas, and residents will have to settle for damp streets and the sound of raindrops on windows. Even where snow does fall at lower elevations, the ground is still too warm for it to accumulate. Any flakes that reach the surface will quickly melt, leaving behind slush and wet grass rather than a lasting blanket of white. Pavements and roads will remain mostly clear, and the fleeting snow will serve as a reminder that true winter has not yet arrived for most. The first real visual impact of winter will be reserved for the mountains, where snow will linger on peaks and ridges. These elevated areas will stand out against the otherwise green and brown landscape, offering a preview of the colder months to come. For those seeking a taste of winter, a trip to the highlands will provide the season's first snowy vistas. But for most of the country, the bigger story is the arrival of frost. As skies clear and temperatures drop overnight, expect to wake up to frosty mornings, with ice crystals sparkling on grass and fields. This marks the true transition toward winter, and serves as a reminder to prepare for colder days ahead. The most widespread impact? A dramatic temperature drop. The cold front brings Arctic air, and the first widespread frost arrives as skies clear. Expect nightly frosts across nearly all of Germany, except perhaps the immediate coast. Daytime highs will struggle to reach 5 hours. Time to break out the winter coats and gloves. Alpine valleys could see lows near 10. Gardeners, protect your plants. This frost ends the growing season. Prepare your home and car for deep freeze conditions. Winter isn't just arriving, it's settling in. Let's look higher up for clues about what's next. Far above us, something extraordinary is happening in the stratosphere. An exceptionally strong early stratospheric warming event is disrupting the polar vortex over the North Pole. This blob of warm air is squeezing and displacing the vortex, a rare event for November. All major weather models agree. This disturbance will persist for weeks. If it triggers a major sudden stratospheric warming, it could be the earliest since 1968. Why does this matter? Because stratospheric changes can influence our weather weeks later. This event could shape the kind of winter we're about to face. Let's see what it might mean for Germany. A disrupted polar vortex often means wild weather for Europe. When the polar vortex, that swirling mass of cold air high above the Arctic, becomes unstable, it can send shockwaves through our weather patterns. This disruption can set the stage for dramatic changes, sometimes bringing weather that is far from what we expect or are prepared for. For meteorologists, a weakened vortex is a red flag, a signal that the usual flow of air currents could be about to change in unpredictable ways. When the vortex weakens, Arctic air can spill south, increasing the risk of prolonged cold spells. This means that instead of the milder, wetter winters that parts of Europe sometimes experience, we could see a surge of frigid air pushing deep into the continent. These cold outbreaks can be sudden and intense, catching people off guard and putting extra strain on infrastructure, from transportation to energy supplies. The cold air doesn't just bring lower temperatures. It can also fuel snowstorms and icy conditions that linger for days or even weeks. If the stratospheric disturbance reaches the lower atmosphere, it could lock us into a cold pattern for weeks. This means that once the cold sets in, it may not leave quickly. Towns and cities across Germany could find themselves under a persistent chill, with snow and ice becoming a daily reality. Extended cold can impact everything from daily commutes to agriculture, and even the health of vulnerable populations. The longer the cold lasts, the more challenging it becomes to cope. For Germany, this could mean persistent northerly or easterly winds, direct from the Arctic or Siberia. These winds are notorious for their biting chill, often carrying with them dry, powdery snow that can drift across roads and fields. The landscape can quickly transform into a wintry scene, with snow piling up and visibility dropping. Such winds can also make the cold feel even more severe, as wind chill drives temperatures lower than what the thermometer shows. The odds of a colder-than-average winter are rising. People may need to prepare for more frequent and intense cold snaps, with temperatures dipping well below what we've seen in recent years. This could mean higher heating bills, more time spent shoveling snow, and a greater risk of travel disruptions. For those who love winter sports, it might be a season to remember, but for others, it could be a real test of endurance. But nothing is guaranteed. The stratosphere-troposphere link is complex and still evolving. Scientists are still working to understand exactly how changes high above the Earth translate into the weather we experience on the ground. Sometimes the signals are clear, other times, surprises emerge. The atmosphere is a dynamic system, and even small shifts can have big consequences. This uncertainty is why forecasts can change, and why it's important to stay informed as the season unfolds. The door is open for a deep winter, but we'll have to wait and see if it walks through. If the cold air does settle in, we could be looking at a winter that's memorable for its intensity and duration. Heavy snowfall could blanket villages and forests, creating beautiful but challenging conditions. For now, all eyes are on the skies, watching for the next sign of what's to come. For now, we're in a watch-and-wait situation. As the weather evolves, so too will our understanding of what this winter holds. Whether it brings record cold, heavy snow, or unexpected mild spells, one thing is certain: the story of this winter is still being written, and we're all a part of it. With the sudden cold, it's time to prepare. Get your winter tires on and add antifreeze to your car's washer fluid. Icy roads are coming. Bring sensitive plants indoors or cover them to protect against frost. Dress in layers, and don't forget hats, gloves, and scarves. Watch for slippery pavements, especially in the mornings. Check on elderly or vulnerable neighbors to ensure they're safe and warm. A little preparation goes a long way in a sudden cold snap. Let's all get winter ready. Germany's on a weather roller coaster. Record warmth, 1 week winter chill the next. Expect cold rain, mountain snow, and widespread frost in the days ahead. The immediate forecast: bundle up and prepare for a frosty week. But the stratospheric event adds uncertainty. Will this be a brief, cold snap, or the start of a deep winter? Meteorologists are watching closely to see if the polar vortex disruption brings a prolonged freeze. For now, stay warm, stay safe, and keep an eye on the forecast. The story isn't over. What happens next could define our winter. Stay tuned.